Hello there, Gert. First of all, let me tell you how awesome it is to see you go all wild with a rec board and submit lots of takes which you've been working on for various different lessons. That's really cool, and we don't really have a reference point as we don't really know where you were at before tackling these lessons. But I can imagine your progress curve has been pretty steep recently, so congratulations on that. I'd like to address a couple of things that I've noticed in your playing and that I think are going to help you kind of boost your level. And you've already gotten great feedback from Monica. So I'm going to expand a little bit on that and exemplify some things on the guitar here. And as Monica said, it's a bit hard to hear exactly what you're doing, and that is related to not playing but recording quality. So I'm going to speak a little bit about that as well. But it's still good enough for us to be able to give you some feedback, and that's what really matters here. So first of all, and this is really common thread through all your takes, there is something which doesn't feel quite right with your posture and your right hand strumming. And as Monica put it, you don't really seem to have an anchor point there. It's more like you are floating. I'm exaggerating now, but it's like you're floating a little bit in the air. And why is that bad? Well, the thing is, the more relaxed you are when playing, the better. Now, this is true for, any physical activity, including, musical activities where you move your fingers. And it's the reason being, as soon as you tense up, basically performance goes down and precision goes down, stamina goes down, everything goes down. And when you're struggling with learning new things, you really don't want to give yourself that disadvantage because things are hard enough anyway. So you really want to make sure you sort of set the premises for a really relaxed posture. So what I would like you to do is, this is a bit different depending on, guitars and what guitar you have and all that, but try to find a way that you can sort of rest your hand, your arm, so that you can be really loose in your right hand. I think that's a good starting point. And then it depends a little bit. When you're strumming, you're going to want to have this kind of looseness, right? But when you're picking and doing stuff like that, you might even want to fixate some more on the guitar. Some people do anchoring down here. I do that a lot. You don't have to do that, but you're going to find that the more resting points you have, the easier it is, because again, you can be more relaxed and your whole arm can just be in position and you can focus your available energy to doing the important stuff here. So that's number one, and you can try to maybe, browse some lessons and get an impression of how instructors do it. Like I said, there are various different ways of doing it, but having a good resting point is going to help you for sure. Okay, so let's proceed to the left hand here. So what I've seen, the kind of left hand posture you have is a bit curved, if you're playing. It's hard for me to do because I practice so hard not doing it, but basically a bit like this, right? Your fingers are curved. Sometimes that's good. For example, if you want to have if you want to play chords where there are open strings ringing, then it's crucial to be able to do that. So it's not a bad thing. But in most cases, especially in the beginning, you're kind of struggling with the opposite. You're having too many strings that are ringing, too many unwanted strings. And that's what Monica is saying here. Basically, she's saying, well, if you flatten your fingers, you get, as a bonus, you get a lot of free dampening here. So what this means is, even if you happen to do a mistake with the right hand and, pick one string too much, it happens to all of us, regardless of your level. It's going to happen that you make a mistake, basically. So your left hand can act as a buffer in case you do a mistake. Basically, it allows you to catch those unwanted strings and mute them. So if I play on any of the strings that I'm not targeting with my with the top of my finger, so any of the strings that I'm not fretting, I have that kind of sound, which isn't really, it still sounds, but it's not this, right? So if I do a mistake, I'm just gonna get that main note ringing. Whereas if I do this, I get a whole mess of notes. And if you add some distortion on top of that, it gets even messier. So that's an important rule. Whenever possible, especially when playing like single note lines or riffs, you know, whatever the riff is, try to have this kind of posture where you dampen strings with the lower part of your fingers. It's super important, and you're gonna be very grateful if you kind of work that into your technique at an early stage. Now, another thing I've seen here is where you are fretting. So this might not be talked about a lot. In most cases, you can kind of disregard it, but I think you're a bit on the extreme here. When you're fretting like the 4th fret here, I see you slide almost all the way down here to the fret wire below. And you really want to be close to the upper fret wire. Why is this important? Well, the closer you are to the upper fret wire, the better the tone is going to be, and the less effort you're going to need to actually fret those notes. This might seem like, oh, well, who cares? You know, I'm just gonna press harder. But it's a huge problem at all levels, the amount of pressure we apply to play. And that's I've been playing for, 20 years or something, and it's the main thing I struggle with. Tension. How do I control tension? How can I grab that weird chord without tensing up? Because if I tense up, I can't switch chords in times. I mess up. I accidentally mute one note that I don't want to mute, and I might accidentally, fret some notes that I didn't intend, all because of tension. So that is why I'm kind of trying to give you the best premises here. If you think about this, a little bit at least, at an early stage, to actually fret closer to the upper fret wire as opposed to the lower fret wire, that's going to help you immensely further down the road. I think those 3 main things are enough for now. Those are good takeaways, and I think those are kind of the main points here. We saw a lot of good stuff in your performance. Your timing seems to be on spot. That's one of the biggest issues for most people. And I think with a better sound, we're really gonna be blown away by your progress here in playing. But those 3 things are, I think, are good takeaways. Work on having a good anchor point so that you can be relaxed in your strumming, picking, whatever you're doing. Think about having a good left-hand posture so that you can, mute some strings along the way, and also try to fret somewhat closer to the upper fret wire. So 3 bullets there, good things to remember. Now, regarding your sound, I think what you're doing is you're probably just pressing the record button on your computer. I don't know if you're in GarageBand or if you're in some of the other audio software on your iMac. And then you let the iMac's built-in microphone catch the sound of the whole room. And we can hear audible compression. Basically, that microphone is trying to adjust the levels as you go. So when it gets loud, it lowers the volume. And when it gets soft, it raises the volume, and you hear more hiss and all that stuff. So there's nothing wrong with your iMac. Your iMac is awesome for recording, especially since you have that free software GarageBand included in your iMac. It's an awesome piece of software. So probably what you need to do is find a good way you can hook your guitar into your computer. So plug your guitar into your computer. And it should work with the input on your iMac. It's not ideal, but it's going to be 100 times better than just using the built-in microphone. So start with that, see if you can just straight plug into your iMac. And if that doesn't work, you can buy like a cheap audio interface. I think you can buy them for like, I think Behringer has them for like, I don't know, 40 euros or 30 euros. Don't quote me on that, but it's, you can get away fairly cheap, especially compared to, what your iMac costs or your guitar, whatever. It's not a super expensive thing. So if you have an audio interface, then that's all you need, because in GarageBand, you have all these amp sounds and you have everything you need in there. So that would be how you record your guitar. And then you can just download using the download button in the GMC player. Download the backing track and put that one in GarageBand as well. So you're gonna have your backing track in GarageBand, and below that, you're gonna see your guitar track being recorded. And then you have them side by side without any noise in the room or anything like that, without hearing that low quality iMac built-in microphone. And already that's going to give your recording quality a huge boost. So that would be my recommendation for you to check out. But again, Gert, I'm really happy to have you here, and I'm actually very excited to be able to follow your progress, because I sense you're going to see some really cool stuff coming from you. See ya. Cheers.